Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever paused for a second when you're writing a date, wondering if you're doing it right? Or maybe you've stumbled over pronouncing a month like February. Well, trust me, you are not alone. But today, we are going to clear all of that up. We're going to take a really fun and detailed journey through the entire calendar so you can master all 12 months of the year in English. So here's what we've got on deck today. First, we're going to take a tour of the year and get properly introduced to all 12 months. Then, we'll dive into the super important rules for writing them correctly. After that, we are going to tackle that classic point of confusion, the difference between UK and US date formats. And, to wrap it all up, I am going to show you an amazing little memory hack that you will use for the rest of your life. Okay, before we really dive in, let's start with a super simple but absolutely essential question. It's the foundation for everything we're going to cover. So, how many months are there in one year? That's it. 12. You got it. 12 unique months that mark our full journey around the sun. So, let's get to know each and every one of them a little bit better, one by one. All right, let's officially begin our journey. We're going to start right at the top of the calendar, usually in the middle of winter for those in the Northern Hemisphere. And we'll go through the entire year, month by month. So, first up, we have January. It has a really cool origin story. It's named after Janus, who was a Roman god. And what was special about him is that he had two faces, but not in a bad way. One face looked back at the old year that just ended, and the other face looked forward to the new year that was just beginning. Pretty perfect for the first month, right? Let's say that one again. January. Next up is February. Oh man, this one can be a real headache to spell and to say, right? That first R can be super tricky, and a lot of people just skip it. But to say it correctly, you really want to hit that sound. February. It's the shortest month of the year, and back in ancient Rome, it was a time for purification festivals. Of course, today, we mostly think of it as the month of Valentine's Day. Then we march right into, well, March. This month gets its powerful name from Mars, the Roman god of war. And here's a really cool piece of trivia for you. On the ancient Roman calendar, March was actually the first month of the year. It kind of makes sense when you think about it. Winter was finally over, so it was a good time to resume activities like military campaigns. April follows March, and it's a month famous for spring showers. The name itself is just perfect. It's believed to come from the Latin word apere, which means to open. And that is exactly what's happening all around in nature, right? Flowers are opening their buds, trees are sprouting new leaves, everything is opening up for the new season. And now for the fifth month, May. It's such a short and sweet name, and it was named for the Greek goddess Maya. She was associated with fertility and growth, which is so fitting for a month when spring is really in full swing and everything is just bursting with life. And just like that, we've hit the halfway point of the year with June. For many, this is the official start of summer. This month is named after a real powerhouse, the Roman goddess Juno. She was not just any goddess, she was the queen of all the gods and the protector of marriage. Now we're right in the heart of summer with July. This month was named in honor of a pretty famous Roman general you've probably heard of, Julius Caesar. Yep, that one. After he died, they renamed this month for him because it happened to be the month he was born in. Following right behind July is August, keeping that summer fun going. And it continues the theme. August was named in honor of the very first Roman emperor, Augustus Caesar. Apparently, he saw the honor they gave to Julius Caesar and thought, hey, I want one of those too. So he chose this month to be named after him. Okay, now hold on, because this is where the calendar gets a little weird, but in a really cool historical way. The ninth month is September. Now, the name comes from the Latin word septem, which means seven. But wait a minute, September is our ninth month. So what gives? Well, it was the seventh month on that old Roman calendar, before they decided to add January and February to the very beginning of the year. And that pattern keeps right on going with October. Octo is the Latin word for eight. Think of an octopus with 8 arms. And you guessed it, this used to be the 8th month of the year before the calendar got shuffled around. Now, of course, it's our 10th month, bringing us autumn colors and Halloween. Next up, we have November. And the Latin root here is novem, which means 9. So once upon a time, this was the 9th month of the year. Now it's our 11th, a time known for harvest festivals and getting ready for winter in many parts of the world. And we made it to the end. We finished the year with December. The root word here is decem, which is Latin for 10. Think of the word decade.
So the year wraps up with this former 10th month, which is now our 12th, and it's usually full of holidays and celebrations.
Awesome. So you now know all 12 months and even a little bit of their history. But knowing their names is really only half the battle. Let's move on and talk about the absolutely essential rules for writing them correctly.
Okay, here it is. The single most important rule to remember, and it's a simple one. The names of the months are what we call proper nouns. Think of them just like your name or the name of a country, and that means they always, without exception, must start with a capital letter. It's never lowercase January. It is always capital J, January.
Now let's talk about abbreviations, or the short forms of the months. You see these everywhere, on calendars and emails, all over the place. And there's a really easy pattern to spot. For most of the longer months, you just take the first three letters and add a period. So January becomes Jan period, August becomes Aug period, and so on. But notice the really short ones like May, June, and July? We usually just leave them as they are. They're already short enough. Okay, you know the months, you know how to write them, but what happens when you put them into a full date? This is where things can get a little tricky, because the order of the day and month completely changes depending on whether you're using the British format or the American one. This slide shows the difference perfectly. On the left, in British English, the format goes from the smallest unit of time to the largest. So, day, then month, then year. For example, 13 April 2014. But on the right, you see the American format, which puts the month first. Month, then day, then year. So, April 13, 2014. Getting this right is absolutely crucial, especially if you're scheduling meetings or booking flights, because it can cause some serious confusion. All right, we have covered so much ground. And now, for the final piece of the puzzle, I have a fantastic little life hack that will guarantee you never ever forget how many days are in each month. This is the brilliant knuckle trick. Go ahead and do this with me right now. Make a fist with one hand. You see the raised knuckles and the dips in between them? Well, every single knuckle, the high part, represents a month that has 31 days, and every dip in between is a shorter month with 30 days, or fewer in the case of February. Let's try it. Your first knuckle is January, 31. The dip is February. The next knuckle is March, 31. The next dip is April, 30. You just keep going across your hand. When you get to the last knuckle, July, you just jump back to the first one again for August. It's simple, it's foolproof, and it works every single time. And there you have it, the whole shebang. You now have all the tools you need. You know the names of the months, the rules for writing them, the different date formats, and you even have a secret memory trick. The calendar is officially yours to command. So my final question for you is this. Now that you've mastered the months, what's the first important date you're going to write down using your new skills?
You are doing great. Don't stop. Subscribe and watch the next video.